Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Could this be the biggest wide receiver contract in NFL history? Rumors are absolutely exploding out of Washington. And if what we're hearing is even remotely true, then the Commanders may have just redefined the wide receiver market in a way nobody saw coming. Word on the street is that Terry Mclaurin, the heart and soul of this Washington offense, just inked a mega deal. Yes, all caps mega, with a jaw-dropping $750 million value that ties him to the franchise through 2030. That's right, $750 million. Now we're not talking about something speculative in terms of the Commanders being interested in extending him. No, according to multiple whispers from team insiders, financial circles, and even a few agents speaking. Off the record, the ink is either dry or just about to be. The NFL world is buzzing and fans are in total disbelief. Could this really be the first non-quarterback to ever cross the $750 million mark? And more importantly, what does this say about how Washington views their future and the player? They clearly believe will lead them there if true. This isn't just a contract extension. This is a statement, a legacy play. Let's unpack just how wild this deal is, folks. $750 million in just generational wealth. It's franchise-altering money. That's the kind of number you usually hear in NBA Supermax talks, or with global soccer phenoms, not with NFL wide receivers. And yet here we are talking about Terry Mclaurin possibly getting a deal that averages out to over $100 million per year. If we're counting endorsements, bonuses, and incentives that are reportedly bundled into the full package, this would shatter every previous wide receiver contract by miles. To put it into perspective, the current top-paid wideouts like Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams are sitting in the $25 to $30 million per year range. So if McLaurin's new deal is anywhere near what's being rumored, he's essentially tripling that bar. Now this raises serious questions. Is Washington betting big on a league-wide revenue boom in the near future? Are they anticipating a media rights jump so seismic that a deal of this size will seem normal in just a few years? Or is this something more personal, a symbolic gesture that says McLaurin is the Commanders and they're going to pay him like it? Either way, this deal could change how the league does business from this day forward. Now, before anyone rushes to call this fake news or agent hype, let's look at what's making this so believable. Sources close to the team have been unusually quiet over the last few days. That's often a sign that something big is going down behind the scenes. No denials, no confirmations, just radio silence. And that in this media ecosystem speaks volumes. Furthermore, insiders at training camp have noticed a shift in energy around McLaurin. He's walking with a different swagger. Coaches seem to be treating him not just like a star player, but like the cornerstone. He's been pulled early from full contact reps. He's been seen in closed-door meetings with ownership. There's buzz that he's been introduced privately to new investors linked to the team's branding and stadium development plans. All of these moves suggest that McLaurin isn't just being locked up for his production on the field, he's being positioned as the face of everything Washington wants to build for the next decade. Think about that. The new stadium, the rebrand, the push to bring fans back. All of it centered around a guy who came in as a third-round pick and earned every inch of respect. That's powerful. And speaking of branding, that might be the secret. Sauce here. People forget this isn't just about touchdowns and stats. In today's NFL, image is currency. Terry Mclaurin is a clean-cut, hard-working, highly respected figure who has never once been involved in off-field drama. He's a locker, room leader, a fan favorite, and someone who represents values the franchise desperately wants to project stability, character, and loyalty. So when you're trying to rebuild a team's public image, especially after years of dysfunction and controversy, you look for guys like Terry to build around. Now imagine pairing that image with a new stadium campaign, a city outreach program, maybe even a documentary series. There's a lot of chatter that McLaurin's deal includes revenue-sharing clauses for content rights and merchandise, something usually reserved for QBs or ownership-level players. This might explain the astronomical number. The Commanders aren't just paying him to catch footballs, they're paying him to be the brand. A player-partner hybrid. This is a move straight out of the NBA playbook where stars become symbols and where their contracts reflect their cultural capital. Could this be the NFL's first real step into that world? If so, Mclaurin just kicked the door wide open. But let's not ignore the risk here. As massive as this move could be for Washington's brand, it's also loaded with uncertainty. Committing $750 million, no matter how it's structured, is a massive gamble in a league where injuries, roster volatility, and system changes can derail even the most promising of careers. What happens if Mclaurin gets hurt? What if the offense doesn't evolve around him? What if a new coaching regime comes in and changes the playbook entirely? There are whispers that the contract has some heavy guarantees up front, but also outsu built in for the team in years 6 and 7, which would make sense financially. Still, the optics of the number alone put pressure on everyone in the building. Ownership, coaching staff, the front office, everyone will be held to the standard of making this deal worth it. And that's a tall order. You don't pay 3/4 of $1 billion for quiet seasons and first-round exits. You do it because you believe deep down that you're about to enter a dynastic era. Whether that's realistic or not, the weight of that belief now sits squarely on Mclaurin's shoulders. Fair or not, he's now the symbol of the entire rebuild. And let's talk ripple effects. If this deal is finalized, it will change the market forever. Agents will be circling like sharks trying to renegotiate deals for their own wide receivers. Players like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb, guys already considered top-tier talents, will now have a new number to chase. And they'll be asking, if Terry McLaurin is worth $750 million, what does that make me worth? It's not a slight against McLaurin. He's earned his stripes. But this deal could set off a tidal wave of financial recalculations across the league. We're talking about resetting the wide receiver economy and possibly even bleeding into the quarterback market. If WR1 start pulling in $500 million over a decade, then how long before QBs ask for $1 billion? It sounds crazy until someone does it first. And maybe that's what makes this McLaurin deal so fascinating. It's not just about one player and one team. It's about a shift in power dynamics valuation models and player leverage. Mclaurin may have just become the NFL's first real media athlete contract where performance and persona are equally monetized. And if so, buckle up, because the ride's just getting started. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Here's where it gets even more interesting. There's talk that this entire deal was engineered not just by football executives, but by entertainment lawyers and brand consultants. Apparently, some of the firms involved in this rumored contract have deep ties to Hollywood streaming platforms and marketing conglomerates. That would explain some of the creative structuring being whispered about. Stock options in team-affiliated ventures, revenue shares from documentaries, maybe even ownership stakes in non-football assets like training facilities or esports teams. If this is true, then Terry McLaurin isn't just becoming the highest-paid wide receiver in history. He's becoming something else entirely, a hybrid between player investor and brand ambassador. It's a revolutionary model, one that mirrors the rise of global sports influencers like LeBron James or Cristiano Ronaldo. And for the Commanders to lead that charge, that would be a shocking twist from a franchise that just a few years ago was seen as dysfunctional and directionless. Maybe this is their bold pivot. Maybe this is their attempt to become not just competitive on the field, but dominant off it. The Commanders might be quietly building a business empire around a football player. And if it works, it'll be studied for years. Now let's circle back to the fans, because at the end of the day, all of this, every dollar, every clause, every whispered detail means nothing if the fan base doesn't buy in. And right now, Washington fans are split. Some are ecstatic. They see McLaurin as the rare loyal star in an era where players jump ship the moment a bigger bag shows up. He stayed through the worst years. He kept producing when others folded. He's the guy who shows up, keeps his head down, and does the work. To them, $750 million is a reward, not an overpayment. But others, they're cautious. They see this as a massive overreach. They point to the team's lack of playoff success, the unknowns at quarterback, and the fact that WRs, no matter how good, don't win championships by themselves. These fans worry that tying so much money into one player will strangle the cap and limit flexibility. They want balance, not flash. And they wonder, could this be another Daniel Snyder era overcorrection disguised as a bold new move? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, no one's indifferent. This deal, if real, has everyone talking, and that's already a win in itself for the franchise. Looking deeper into the potential contract timeline, sources suggest that this deal extends Mclaurin's stay well beyond what many initially expected. Originally seen as a player Washington could afford to keep only through his rookie and early prime years, this extension could lock him up through 2030, a full decade of commitment from both sides. This is a bold move, considering how quickly NFL teams pivot after a few seasons, but it shows a tremendous amount of faith. Some insiders whisper that the Commanders are aiming to build a dynasty around Mclaurin, betting that he could become the franchise's face for an entire generation. This would mirror other sports franchises locking down their stars for the long haul, creating stability and identity. It's not just about on-field production, but about creating a cultural icon in the nation's capital. And with the league's growing focus on social justice and community leadership, Mclaurin's clean image and community involvement make him the ideal poster player. It's as if Washington is saying, we don't want to win just games, we want to win hearts. However, with such a long-term contract, pressure mounts. Will Mclaurin's production and health hold up? Will he remain motivated, fans and analysts alike will be watching closely. Financially, the implications are staggering. If this $750 million deal includes signing bonuses, roster bonuses, and performance incentives, Washington's salary cap strategy will have to become incredibly creative. Teams have limits, and committing such a massive sum to a single non-quarterback player changes the dynamics of roster building. Some rumors indicate the deal might use backloaded payments or deferred compensation, allowing the Commanders to keep their cap flexible in the short term, but creating big risk down the line. This kind of maneuvering could complicate future contract talks with other stars or free agents. And it raises questions about how the NFL's collective bargaining agreement might adapt to these new mega contracts outside the quarterback position. Are we witnessing the start of a new arms race for non-QB players? Is Washington setting a precedent that other franchises will feel forced to follow? Or could this be a unique experiment tailored to Mclaurin's specific brand and circumstances? It's a fascinating moment because it challenges long-held norms about positional value and contract size. If Washington succeeds, they'll reshape the league's financial landscape. If not, they could become a cautionary tale. To wrap this all up, this rumored $750 million mega contract for Terry McLaurin is more than just numbers on paper. It's a reflection of shifting priorities in professional sports where player value increasingly blends on-field skill with off-field influence. Washington's reported decision to lock him up until 2030 suggests a vision that goes beyond football. Wins to cultural impact and brand building. Whether this deal is finalized or still in negotiation, the NFL is watching closely. It could herald a new era where wide receivers, long undervalued compared to quarterbacks, claim their place as franchise cornerstones and marketing powerhouses. This move could also ripple across contract talks, league-wide, forcing teams and players to rethink how they structure deals in a world of booming media revenue and athlete branding. For fans, it's a roller coaster of excitement and skepticism, with the potential to reshape what loyalty and investment mean in the modern NFL. Will Mclaurin live up to the monumental expectations? Will Washington become a dominant force with him? At the center, the answers will unfold over the next decade, but one thing is certain, the football world just witnessed a potential game changer, and the buzz will only grow louder. Keep your eyes peeled, because if these rumors prove true, Terry McLaurin's name will be etched into NFL history forever. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.